And, that's, as you said, like, we don't have a lot of sources in our everyday life that tell us to dial it down, like our expectations. So we get advertisements that say, you need to buy this, you gotta have this, So that's why I personally do these kind of programs with people like you, so that I spread the message of, hey, like, wait, step back and just think about your purchase or what you are doing. So think about your actions. Like, you are thinking that this action might make you happier, but will it really make you happier? Just think about the action and its long-term consequences or impacts. So as you said, like, your wife is better than you in terms of, like, I think you can, you can say it like impulsive purchase or impulsive shopping, right? You are bad at controlling that impulse, but but your wife is better than you when it comes to controlling that impulse. So I think it's also about, like, controlling our impulse and controlling that tendency to go to the shopping mall and buy a lot of stuff, like buy a variety of stuff, thinking that will make us happy, or that will add value to our life in some ways. But at the end of the day, when you bring that stuff to your home and you start using it, maybe after a while, you will see that, oh, actually, my life is no better than compared to the time when I didn't have that product, didn't use that thing, this stuff. So it actually didn't add value to my life in terms of happiness. So that's actually a very important point. And also, you gave the examples of the houses on the lake. Is it Minnetonka?
Lake Minnetonka,
Lake Minnetonka,
Minneapolis. Yep.
So you took a group of students to the lake, and when you started the day, you wanted maybe a cabin, but at the end of the day, you wanted the biggest house on the lake. Do you remember that in your TED Talk?
Oh yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Like, our expectations rise, and that's when our sense or our idea of happiness actually changes. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our happiness depends on expectations. And again, generally, when you get more than you expect, you're pretty happy. When you get less than you expect, you're unhappy. When you get what you expect, you're pretty much okay. You're fine. You're content. The problem is, there's a natural escalation of our expectations. And once they escalate, they don't easily de-escalate. So as I made an analogy to a ratchet wrench, which is one of those wrenches that slides easily one way, but puts resistance on the bolt to go the other way. And we're really good at becoming acclimated quickly. Let me give you the best example of this I know of. When I was in graduate school, I mentioned I worked with this guy, Fred Herzberg, who studied life satisfaction, and he made a big point out of not trying to encourage employees to find job satisfaction in money. Well, ironically, he had a lot of money. And he made a fortune telling employers not to use money as a way to motivate your employees. I'm sitting in his office one day. I was a graduate student, and I'm sitting in his office, and I hear him on the phone, and he picks up the phone and he says, hi, yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, all right, I'll do it. And he hangs up the phone. I only hear half the conversation. So I said, Fred, what's going on here? He said, well, I'm going to go out to Ohio. There's a company out there where the chief executive wants me to come out and give a talk to the employees. I said, well, that sounds, you do that a lot. It sounds fun. He goes, well, I don't know. They're willing to send their jet out to pick me up. Now, we're in Salt Lake City. This is 2,000 miles away. He says, well, they'll send their jet out to pick me up. They'll bring me to Ohio, and then they'll bring me home. I said, you mean like a private jet taxi service? And he said, yeah. I go, well, what's the problem? He said, well, they want to send their Learjet, and I like their Gulfstream so much better. I'm like, all right. And I kind of busted him on it. I go, are you kidding me? Your tastes have escalated so far that a Learjet is not good enough. You want the bigger, fancier Gulfstream. And we kind of chuckled about it. But I just think that's the point. There's just no limit to it. You can become accustomed to a private jet. And I'm certain Well, I saw evidence of it, that if you get to fly in a Learjet and there's the big G6 or G whatever it is now, today's G8 sitting next to you, you imagine, how great it would be if I had, I could stand up a little taller in my own private jet. Or I just don't think there's an end to it. There's, we can see any number of billionaires now who are trying to top each other on bigger and better yachts. I don't think it ends. So that's the danger too, is that even when you get to the top, you still want more,
Exactly. Right. So now this is the last part of our talk, and I want to refer to your TED Talk again. At the end of your TED Talk, you gave two options for happiness. Yeah. So first one was stay on the treadmill, and the second was seek security, but not ecstasy. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I really like these ideas.
Well, yes. If you stay on the treadmill, you're going to have to run faster and faster and faster. And you can try, and some people can find short-term happiness, thrill, we'll call it, from the new purchases. But those purchases need to get more and more expensive. And what I didn't talk about in the TED Talk is that the line is not a straight line. There's a curve, so that the next noticeable difference in luxury as you start to move up becomes bigger and bigger. You need a big jump to notice, and the cost becomes much higher. So for instance, you go from a 1-star hotel to a 2-star hotel, you're going to pay an extra $20 or $30, and you'll notice that $20 or $30 gets you, cleaner towels and a little nicer view, perhaps. And then if you move to the 3-star hotel, it's going to cost you another, $70, but the room won't be that much noticeably different, right? And then if you go to a 4-star, now you're going to pay an extra $100 a night or $200 a night. And wow, it's really getting harder and harder to see the difference between the 3 and the 4-star. And the 4 and the 5, I don't know what it is. Is it marble on the floor? It's something very hard to see. So if you try to buy your way into happiness, not only will you have to keep spending more, you'll have to keep spending proportionately more and more. Because to get that same feeling of, I'm excited, this is luxury, you have to spend a lot. And don't get me wrong, for some things, it's fun to do this every now and then. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't occasionally go and splurge a little bit and have some fun and go to a great restaurant or a great hotel. But we all know, everybody knows somebody who's trying to find it for everything in their life. They want the nicest car, the nicest hotel, the nicest designer brands, and it becomes incredibly expensive. I mean, this is why really rich people can go broke, because it's not a straight line curve. There's a big bend in it, and you have to start spending proportionally much, much more in order to get that little extra thrill of satisfaction. So you can try to run on that treadmill, but you're going to need more money, and it's going to consume more time than you think, and you're going to have to make some sacrifices in other areas of your life, and sadly areas that can produce long-term happiness: time with friends, time on hobbies, times doing the things that produce real joy and fascination. So it's not a good idea to try to run on the treadmill, because it'll run as fast as you do. The other option is to just seek security. Here's the idea. If money can alleviate dissatisfaction, but it can't really make you happy, then the best that we can hope for is that we're just kind of okay, that we're content. So we try to find ecstasy in it by buying the greatest, fanciest, biggest, nicest things. We'll just never get there. There'll never be enough. Whereas if you can take a moment and go, you know what, this is okay. I'm doing just fine here. Then you can seek contentment, so that the goal is to have your major expenses covered. I mean, here's one of the great tragedies, I think, is you'd find really wealthy people who are living paycheck to paycheck. They're worried because they keep thinking, if I have that newer house and that better car and I get that lease, and it won't matter if I just add this onto my costs, that they're struggling, they're suffering because they're worried about making their payments, even though every aspect of their life is luxurious. They live in fear. And I argue you should use money as a way to eliminate fear, to eliminate dissatisfaction, or, to produce a kind of comfort. I think that's a better route than trying to buy your way into happiness. Use money to, eliminate hassles, eliminate worry. I've talked with there's a big number of financial companies up here in the Twin Cities that, help people with financial planning. And I'm always I'm always kind of puzzled by, if you watch these commercials for retirement services or whatever, what do you see? You see some very attractive, fit 65-year-olds who are out on the beach somewhere, right? And they have a luxury car. It's like, finally, when I retire, then I will have all this stuff. And I keep trying to advocate to the financial companies, say, look, what you should be telling people is to accumulate enough money that they don't have any hassles, that they have security, so that they're no longer worried. And the way you get that is by saving and investing rather than spending. Saving isn't as much fun as spending, but it's really the best that can happen, in a way, is that you'll save, and then you'll be free of the worry of not having enough money. You'll have enough money to weather the storms when they hit you. That freedom won't feel like you're ecstatic. It won't feel like you're happy. It'll just feel like, I'm not worried. And so the goal is you get enough money so that you don't have to worry about paying your rent or paying for your car or, medical expenses. You don't worry about it, but then you spend the rest of your time doing stuff that really will produce long-term happiness, in your hobbies, in your close relationships with family and friends, with doing activities that produce fascination. So that's kind of my sermon on that, I guess.
And I really like it, because I have been studying happiness by reading a lot of books and studies and talking to experts from different parts of the world, and they have many different suggestions. But what I really liked about your suggestions that you gave in the TED Talk, and now you have talked about it, it's so simple. Like, if you think you have enough and you're pretty comfortable with the money you have and also your life, so just save money, invest it so that you can weather the storms that may come in your life. And you know what? I have personally been doing this for like many years. Mm-hmm. And there are people who earn a lot more than I do in my country. In the beginning, I was worried and I didn't feel good about it. But now, over the years, and I have saved, I have invested, and I have also invested the return on my profit from my investments, from my previous investments. So I reinvested that profit, and I have seen that my money is growing. So it gives me a real sense of security that if I have any medical payment or any unexpected payment, a big payment in my life, I can actually handle it. But as you talked about some rich people who are living paycheck to paycheck, so, if you take their paycheck away or if they lose their job, oh my God, they will be in big trouble.
Yeah, because absolutely.
Because they cannot continue their lifestyle anymore. So their satisfaction level will, of course, go down. So I really liked your idea. That's why, your idea is so simple. Like, if you're comfortable, make enough money. Don't think about being the next Bill Gates or Elon Musk or Warren Buffett, I think.
Right.
So just earn as much as you think your life will be happy if you have that much money. And when you are comfortable, just invest them more, and then just enjoy your life. So I want to tell you something. I think it's very interesting, and it easily relates to what you were saying. There was an interview in the Rolling Stone magazine of Elon Musk. It was published a few years ago, and he says, if I am not in love, if I'm not with a long-term companion, I cannot be happy. So just think about it. The second richest person in the world is, is saying, as you are saying, that happiness depends on our relationships. Happiness depends on things that we really love to do, our passion, So if Elon Musk is saying this, I think this is a message to every single person of the world that, hey, now is the time to reconsider your financial priorities, let's say, and think about it. Like if you have $100 billion, like Elon Musk, or maybe more, do you think you'll be happy? This is what Elon Musk says. Please take a look and pay attention to it. But anyway, thank you, Dr. Daniel. It was really nice talking to you. And the whole idea of this interview with you, my idea is to spread this simple message that, hey, earn money and save it, invest it, build a safety net in your life. And when you have that, just live comfortably your life and spend your time with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends, and also spend time on your passions and also things that you really love to do, and also things that you really think are meaningful and will bring joy in your life. But don't chase money, don't chase status, don't chase fame, because those things are temporarily. Yep. Okay. So Dr. Daniel, it was really nice talking to you. And I want to end our today's meeting here. So goodbye. And
thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.